What's going on, everyone? Jake here from Switchforce to bring you more Super Mario Odyssey analysis. This is going to focus on Bowser's wedding, how it affects the kingdoms, and how the bosses are tied into this wedding theory. So I'm going to start where the theory sprouted for me, which is in the Sand Kingdom. As you can see on screen here, we have some dialogue from the Brutals. I think this takes place before the presumably first battle with Harriet, the female brutal, and she says, "Looking for the wedding ring, chumps? Too bad, the boss has it now." And clearly this wedding ring is super important because it has its own icon like Bowser does, and it's its own font color compared to the rest of the text. And then if you look at the pamphlet that you can pull up when you pull up in the map for each kingdom, under Toast Arena, under all these categories, under industry, it says that their industry is tourism and precious stones are their two focal points. So precious stones and wedding rings go hand in hand very well. And then if we look at this other portion of the pamphlet that focuses on the kingdom's major landmarks, it talks about the inverted pyramid. And about halfway through, it says, "It is said that a legendary wedding ring sleeps within, and the upside-down pyramid symbolizes that those joined by the ring will never part even if the world turns upside down." So again, it references this wedding ring that has presumably been stolen by Bowser and may have caused some chaos with the ice that's in the Toast Arena area that the people in the treehouse said isn't really supposed to be there and is causing some panic. So maybe that has something to do with it because Bowser broke into the pyramid and stole the wedding ring. But then moving on from there, the only other pamphlet we've seen so far is New Donk City. And if you look at New Donk City's pamphlet under their industry for the Metro Kingdom, it says that they focus on information and advertisements. So this makes me think maybe what Bowser takes or takes advantage of each kingdom is tied to what their industry is, and that little industry section gives us a clue into what is going on in each kingdom. So if you look at New Donk City, during the day in like the demo that was playable at E3 and a lot of the treehouse and trailer footage, during the day there's no Bowser advertisements anywhere. It's just advertising for the other kingdoms, the Steam Gardens, Mount Volbono. There's a Sugar Skull. I don't know what it says on it, but for Toast Arena, advertising for like the Dixie Market and all that kind of stuff on all their billboards. But then when it becomes nighttime, and there's also a part in the one of the treehouse events where there's the Sting Bees, and there is some Bowser advertisements up there for his wedding. You can see here that there's these giant Bowser and Peach, a royal wedding advertisements, flyers, invitations, if you will, all over the city. So maybe Bowser coming in and flying in his wedding airship, and the Brutals helping him plaster these posters everywhere, causes some havoc in the city. And then that's where like the Mecha Wiggler comes from, and all the Sherm tanks and all that chaos might be involved with Bowser visiting and taking over the city and plastering his wedding reveal and invitation all over the place. So maybe he's using New Donk City for its advertising abilities. And then if we continue on to the Wooded Kingdom, they talked about in the Treehouse Live that I forget what the population's name is, the watering can people, but they are in panic and spinning out of control because Bowser, as you can see from the dialogue of this watering can being, says the monster is taking our flowers. This is an alarming turn of events. So from the Wooded Kingdom, in the Geodome of the Big Forest, he has stolen flowers for his wedding, which are an essential part of most weddings. So that has spun that out of control. So maybe stealing the wedding ring from the Sand Kingdom caused the ice to come out of the ice caves, because we do know there's an ice cave beneath the Sand Kingdom. So maybe him breaking into the pyramid had some like Indiana Jones effect that caused the ice to break through or break out. And then in New Donk City, maybe he stole all the power to light his signs and posters all over and billboards all over. So maybe that's where the Mecha Wiggler comes in, where he's draining the power, and that becomes nighttime or something like that, or it just becomes nighttime on its own, and that's when he decides to show up and advertise. And then for the flowers here, he steals the flowers. It causes chaos. It causes the people here, the inhabitants, to spin out of control and go get really stressed out and crazy. So then we move on to the Luncheon Kingdom, which I think should be an obvious get of what their industry is. It's got to be food. Their name says it. There's literally chefs made like out of fork people chefs. There's food everywhere. It's like geometric polygonal food, so it doesn't look the most natural, but it's definitely food nonetheless. So my guess is Bowser comes here and steals his food for his like catering of the event, and maybe even his cake. But I'll touch on that in a little bit as well. But definitely, I think it's obvious, even without seeing the brochure, the map of the Luncheon Kingdom, that he steals food from this kingdom. And I'm sure it makes these poor fork folk, that's a good name, fork folk, very stressed out. So then if we go back to the map, those are the 4 big kingdoms that we have seen so far. But in my previous video, if you haven't watched that, you should go check it out. I talk about this map that they showed on the Japanese Mario Odyssey Twitter, and it has the Cascade Kingdom and the Cap Kingdom labeled as well as some clearly identifiable other kingdom potential islands and things, like this mushroom-shaped island that could be the Mushroom Kingdom, or like a Toad Island or something like that, and this snowflake-bordered island that's in sort of the middle of the map towards the pole, that is clearly an ice world, and then possibly a palm tree beach-themed island in the bottom left corner, where the islands kind of look like palm leaves, and maybe a couple others that I haven't really identified yet, and they're just kind of big masses as opposed to being super identifiable. Or maybe that's it, and it's just those 9. But if we extrapolate this theory of Bowser stealing something from each kingdom, if this is our first theory, then I want to continue along. So if we go to the Cap Kingdom, we can see here in this one picture shown in one of the trailers of Mario running kind of 2D style along in the Cap Kingdom, we can see that there is the brutal, I think it's the brutal ship. It could be Bowser's airship, but my guess is it's the brutal airship floating around the big hat pillar castle-y tower looking thing in the background. And perhaps, since the Cap Kingdom is like the tutorial world, perhaps it's where the Brutals come from too, and that Cap Tower is like their headquarters, and so they're flying around because they just got hired or they're about to get hired by Bowser, and that's maybe where you first encounter them. Or if the Brutals don't come from the Cap Kingdom, maybe Bowser just steals his outfit, or maybe he comes by it honestly and purchases the outfit from here. But the Cap Kingdom either has the origins of the Brutals, and this is where they're based out of, or just Bowser's outfits and like the Peach's wedding attire as well, something like that. And then if you go to the Cascade Kingdom, which is the last labeled kingdom on the map, there is an image in one of the trailers of Mario in this Stars and Stripes kind of 4th of July-ish patriotic outfit, and it really does remind me of the 4th of July. So I'm wondering if in the Cascade Kingdom there's something about fireworks, and that's what Bowser has come to take from the Cascade Kingdom. He comes and he steals the fireworks to put on a big celebration for his wedding, and that's what the Cascade Kingdom has to offer him. I don't really know how it ties in to the environment with the fossil feel and the waterfalls and things like that, but this 4th of July Stars and Stripes outfit gives me that feeling that maybe he steals fireworks from there, and fireworks are definitely a part of a wedding, or they could very well be a part of a wedding. They're not part of every wedding. So then if we keep going and pushing this first theory that I have back to the map, and we say that there is this beach palm tree themed island and this ice island, maybe for the ice island, since it's all frozen and stuff, maybe this is where he gets his cake. And the Luncheon Kingdom only provides the catering and the main meals, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of desserts there except just lots of fruits and vegetables and soups. So maybe he gets his cake from the ice world and it's got all this elaborate frosting and stuff like that. Or maybe if it's not the cake, maybe it's like an ice sculpture or something. I don't know. I can't think of what else would be from there. And then I was thinking for the beachy kingdom, the palm tree kingdom, whatever you want to hypothetically call it at this point. Again, it's still a hypothetical. It may not even be a kingdom at all. But if it is, and we're pushing this first theory, I was thinking maybe he comes and steals music, because every wedding needs music, and maybe the beach have like really good musicians. I know New Donk City has musicians, but I really think he's using that for advertising. He's not going to steal the New Donk City Festival musicians that you collect in the playable demo at E3. But because that was my first thought, was he takes the music from Metro Kingdom, but I think he uses that for advertising. So maybe there's like a plant or something, an exotic plant that's like a piano or organ or something, or trumpet, that he takes from the beach kingdom, or there's just really cool musicians that he comes to steal. Another thing maybe you could steal is like some underwater treasure or something. I'm not really sure exactly what else he could take from the Peach Kingdom. And then there's the mushroom-shaped kingdom, or island. Maybe it's not the Mushroom Kingdom per se. If it is the Mushroom Kingdom, it's probably just the ending point of the game or starting point of the game. And so that's where the wedding will try to take place. Or if it's like just like a Mushroom Kingdom or a Mushroom Island or a Toad Island or something, I don't really know what he could take from there. Maybe a perfume or something made out of the fungus that grows there, and it smells really nice, and he uses it on himself as a cologne or on Peach or something, or I don't know. I'm just theorizing here, but that's my first theory. If we break that theory away and we go to what my second theory is, and this ties into more of the bosses, so thank you for being patient until we got to this point. But I'm wondering, since the Luncheon Kingdom, Metro Kingdom, Wooded Kingdom, and Sand Kingdom we've already seen so far, and they seem to be the biggest on the map, if those are the 4 main kingdoms, and then the island kingdoms, Cascade Kingdom, Cap Kingdom, this mushroom-shaped island, the beach-shaped island, and even the frozen island, although it's more substantial, it's still an island, are all just kind of side kingdoms, and they don't have the same pull and the same amount of moons and the same bosses that the 4 main kingdoms have. And so this second theory is that the Brutals are each assigned to a major kingdom, one of the 4 that I just mentioned. And we've already seen that Harriet is assigned to the Sand Kingdom. We see 2 separate fights, or I'm like 90% sure that they're separate fights because she used different moves in them. One in the trailer and one in a Treehouse Live, both in the Sand Kingdom. So I feel like she's assigned to that. And then we've seen the sort of Ludwig-looking one with the indigo hat and outfit, in the Wooded Kingdom, spitting out poison goop in a circle. So I'm guessing he's assigned to that. And then, you have, they mentioned that the green one is called Topper, and then you have the really tall one in the back. I don't know what his name is, but each one of those could be assigned to the Metro Kingdom and to the Luncheon Kingdom. And you just fight them. They say you fight each of the Brutals multiple times and their moves evolve, but maybe they don't get fought in different locations. Maybe you just fight them multiple times in one of those 4 main kingdoms that they're assigned to, and you just come back at different times, like the day-night cycle in the New Donk City or the Sand Kingdom or things like that, and they just stay there. And those are the 4 main areas, and those are the only areas that Bowser has stolen stuff from, and the other island kingdoms are more just little side quest type things where they have, lesser moons. They don't really have a huge story piece. They don't really have any bosses. They just have more like objective-based things, like climb to the top of the skeleton to get a moon, or find moon shards to get a moon, or things like that aren't as integral to the story. And if that's the case, then we can scrap the whole music from the beach and cake from the Ice Kingdom and fireworks from Cascade Kingdom and all that, and just focus on the 4 main ones. And then if those are the 4 main kingdoms and they're the biggest, they have the most moons, they have all the brutal battles take place in these 4 kingdoms, are they home to the rest of the bosses? Because we've seen so far presumably 3 mini bosses, or they're not, maybe not they're mini bosses, but they're not sort of the Brutal or Bowser bosses. And to me, the Brutals in this game take the place of the Koopalings in previous games, where each one kind of demarks a whole world, and they're kind of the world boss. But we've seen Mecha Wiggler in New Donk City. We've seen this kind of floating Aztec Mayan temple head that is most likely in the Sand Kingdom, in the Ice Caves, and you fight him there. So that's another side boss, we'll call it. Not mini boss because they don't look too small, but maybe side boss. And then we've also seen the giant chicken who is carrying away like a rock or a meatloaf or something from the Luncheon Kingdom. She looks pretty crazed with cuckoo eyes, but she has a chef hat, so maybe she is more credible than we think. But again, another side boss perhaps, or maybe just a big dodo bird that is causing trouble. But I wonder if these 4 main kingdoms, if we take the second theory, these 4 main kingdoms are more fleshed out, and they have more of these side bosses, and they have more areas to explore, and they're more like a hub world with branches out into like the ice cave area or the skyscraper portions of New Donk City, or the deep woods in Wooded Kingdom, and they have where, like, you've seen the rocket ship that takes you to different areas, or the sewers in New Donk City will take you to a different area, things like that. And maybe the Cascade Kingdom and Cap Kingdom and the other island kingdoms are more straightforward, and they're more just an area to explore and have moons lying around, and some objective-based moons, but really not as many, and they're not as bulky. And maybe they don't even have bosses, or if they do, they just have one of these side bosses, and it's not really a big to-do like the 4 main kingdoms would be. But again, that's just my thoughts. I'm not really sticking to any one of those theories yet, but I think it's interesting to think about and look into, because they have dropped a lot of hints, and Mario games are so detailed and well-themed that they have kept a lot secret, clearly. They have not mentioned the Beach Kingdom or the Ice Kingdom or the Mushroom-shaped Island Kingdom at all. So they still have a lot of stuff under wraps, but there are some clues that if you dig enough, you can find some interesting, come up with some interesting theories of your own. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know in the comments down below what your theories are, or if you want to see more of these in-depth analysis on different things. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our awesome videos now or in the future. Until next time, thanks again. Switch Force out.